What if Bandit Heeler accidentally joined a British orchestra full of talking ducks? What if Bingo swapped her toy duck for the duck from Sarah and Duck? And seriously, who would win in a staring contest? Muffin with no bedtime or Sarah's pet onion? Yeah, these are the kinds of questions that keep me awake at night. But hey, before we dive into this crossover chaos, don't just lurk in the background like Sarah hiding socks under the bed. Hit that subscribe button, because 99% of you are watching without subscribing, and honestly, that's even stranger than Sarah talking to vegetables. At first glance, Bluey is just a wholesome Australian kids show about family, play, and parenting. But look closer, and suddenly you're knee-deep in Easter eggs, cultural nods, and background gags that only eagle-eyed fans catch. Bandit's guitar. In the Heeler living room, there's an electric guitar. At first, it's just a prop, right? Wrong. It's actually a cheeky nod to Bandit's past life as a wannabe rock star. Just imagine Heeler and the Dingoes, Brisbane's hottest garage band of 1998. Now fast forward, same guy, but instead of smashing guitars, he's smashing dirty diapers. Rock and roll never dies, it just gets really tired. Vintage toys. Bluey's house is full of old-school Aussie toys, brands that real parents recognize from their own childhoods. It's like the animators raided their attic and went, yeah, that'll do. For adults, it's nostalgia. For kids, it's just more stuff to step on. Australian culture. The show screams Australia louder than a kookaburra at 5 a.m. From bin chickens, that's ibis for the uninitiated, to cricket matches, Vegemite toast, and slang that confuses Americans. It's like a love letter to Aussie life, wrapped in pastel colors. Music cues. The soundtrack isn't just background noise, it's clever. Composers sneak in classical riffs, emotional motifs, and callbacks to earlier episodes. Bluey basically has its own Marvel Cinematic Universe of music. Dog World logic. Ever notice the doorknobs? They're lower. The cars, they're slightly squished. And the food packaging? Designed for paws. It's a subtle reminder. This isn't people dressed as dogs. This is a fully functioning canine society. Somewhere out there, a dachshund is probably running for office. Posters and artwork. Look at the walls. Posters reference real Australian artists, past episodes, and sometimes even visual gags. Basically, the Heeler's home doubles as an art gallery. Except instead of tourists, you get Bingo drawing on the walls with crayons. Recurring background characters. Playground kids you see once, they pop up again later. It's like the animators secretly believe Brisbane is just one giant interconnected daycare. City landmarks. Episodes set in the city feature real Brisbane landmarks, redrawn in Bluey's signature style. So yes, if you're from Brisbane, Bluey is basically a tourism ad disguised as family TV. Micro stories. And the best part, blink and you miss it side plots. Background characters sometimes live out their own mini-stories while Bluey and Bingo are busy playing. Like extras who decided, nah, we're main characters now. Bluey isn't just a show, it's a visual scavenger hunt with emotional damage included. Now, let's hop across the world to Britain. Enter Sarah and Duck. On the surface, it looks minimalistic, but under the cozy aesthetic lies the surreal chaos. Cameo characters. Mr. Potato, Llamas, even random background figures reappear like running gags. It's basically the MCU, but instead of Iron Man, you get a vegetable. British absurdism. The humor is pure Monty Python DNA, weird, illogical, and unapologetic. Sarah goes shopping for onions, and somehow it becomes an emotional journey. Breaking the fourth wall. The narrator isn't just a storyteller, he argues with Sarah, questions her logic, and sometimes gets ignored by her. Imagine your GPS back-talking while you drive. That's the vibe. Cultural and musical nods. The orchestra episode isn't just aw cute, it's laced with subtle nods to British classical music traditions. Tea time, but make it symphonic. Meta humor. Duck's reactions are pure comedy gold. He looks at Sarah like, I didn't sign up for this. Every exhausted parent watching knows that look. Repeating weirdness. Sarah has quirks, socks, vegetables, llamas, and they come back over and over. They're Easter eggs, but instead of winking at the audience, they stare blankly like Duck. Visual Britishness. From teapots to cobblestone streets, red phone boxes, and quirky shops, the show drips with British cozy. If Bluey is Vegemite, Sarah and Duck is Earl Grey tea with a side of absurdity. Philosophy of a 7-year-old. Sarah isn't just a kid, she's a tiny philosopher. She'll casually drop questions like, what is time? Or do ducks get bored? Play-Doh, but in rain boots. If Bluey hides culture in the ordinary, Sarah and Duck hides absurdity in the everyday. Put these two side by side, and here's what you get. Bluey. Structured play, heartwarming family chaos. Everyday Aussie life. Sarah and Duck. Surreal adventures, deadpan humor, absurd British nonsense. But the magic overlap? Both shows treat children's imagination as reality. In Bluey, when kids say, "the floor is lava," the animators make it lava. In Sarah and Duck, when Sarah says her onion is alive, guess what? Onion's alive now. Both universes agree. If a kid believes it, then it's real. This is where things get deep. Bluey. The show doubles as a parenting guide in disguise. It teaches patience, empathy, resilience, and how to survive a toddler screaming, "I'm not tired," at 3 a.m. Sarah and Duck. This one's philosophy class dressed up as a cartoon. It reminds us that curiosity and nonsense often matter more than logic. So yeah, Bluey teaches you how to handle bedtime. Sarah and Duck teaches you how to handle existence. Let's break down their comedy styles. Bluey humor kid says something funny. Parents roll with it. Chaos ensues. Example. Muffin once declared she's a baked bean after skipping bedtime. Relatable. Sarah and Duck humor kid says something weird. Narrator argues, Duck reacts like he's seen the horrors of war. Example. Sarah spends an entire episode figuring out how to sit on a chair. That's it. Comedy gold. Different flavors, same recipe, comedy born from childhood logic. So whether it's Bluey sneaking in guitars and Brisbane's skylines, or Sarah and Duck quietly dropping onions and llamas, both shows remind us of the same thing. Kids don't just see the world differently, they create it. If you enjoyed exploring this crossover of chaos and cuddly cartoons, don't tiptoe away like Sarah's onion. Hit that like button, drop a quack in the comments, and subscribe for more theories. Because who knows, maybe the next Easter egg will be Duck hiding in Bluey's toy box.